It was the fall of the year 2000 when I determined to return to collegiate study. But I didn't want to do the same thing that I had done before. I lived in northern New Jersey and had been in a community college there, but no, I wanted something radically different. And so after prayer and study, a friend of mine and I packed a car and took the 50-hour drive to Southern California. I wanted to enroll in a small Christian college there. It wasn't until we pulled up at the college that I recognized that I may not have thought this all the way through because I didn't see the beaches of Venice. I didn't see the ramen Chinese theater. There were no superstars around or movie sets in proximity. I was rather in the Inland Empire, which is what I now know to be the Mojave Desert, which was surrounded with dust and just a sprinkling of palm trees. I walked around campus at these buildings that had a architectural style that I hadn't seen before and met people who were a little different, slightly eccentric in a way that I hadn't expected. And I started to ask myself whether or not I would fit there. It really kicked in the next day when we went to the Sabbath worship service there at the University Church. And rather than the gospel music infused African American service that I was used to, I was now in a very different worship atmosphere. I started asking myself, can I fit in here? Do I want to fit in here? Have I made a mistake? And as I navigated those feelings, the Caucasian couple next to myself and my friend introduced themselves and asked if we wanted to have Sabbath lunch with them. Well, of course, there was the cafeteria, but we knew better and we decided to spend our afternoon with them. I'm so happy we did because we learned that the Curtis family had been a long-standing staple in that community. They shared with us people we had to meet and places we needed to go to, upcoming events that we must attend. And they shared with us that Mrs. Curtis was even a part of the school's staff. Now, this experience where I didn't know anyone, I felt disjointed and disconnected. I now felt like there was a small space where I had found community, I found friendship, and I could now grow into this new context. I wonder how many people in our congregations are wanting that same type of meeting, and how many who have no longer been attending our services have done so because we have not met them, because we have failed to connect with them in meaningful ways. This section of Ramp is very dear to me because I believe that many people are starving not for new information, not for relevance as far as truth is concerned. They are starving for meaningful connection with us. They want to be a part of a loving community that actually cares about them, cares about when they're hurting, cares about when they feel disjointed, cares whether or not they are continuing in our presence. But oftentimes we find ourselves so concerned about what it is that they've been wearing or what they've been eating or drinking that we have simply not asked how they're feeling. How's it going in this environment? Whether or not they're depressed, lonely, feeling grief. This is our opportunity, though. Being a part of this book, reading through this material is our opportunity to now try it again and to build a ramp to help them to come back to our fellowship. And when we think about meeting, we don't have to do anything that is expensive. We don't have to do anything elaborate. We're talking about simple ways to create community with other people. Once a month, I'm a part of a group of couples that come together and play a game over Zoom. We are across hundreds of miles, but we just play that game and share fellowship in that way. And how many people would be glad to simply share a meal with you or to have a Zoom interaction with you and your family, maybe a Zoom play date with you and your kids. It could be a call where you're simply saying to them, I miss you, just wondering how you've been. The book gives us some tips and tricks on how to make that happen in tangible ways. But one thing that really stuck out to me was pulling out maybe a church directory or a church membership roll and taking a look to see who isn't there. And I tell you, in my church, it is always incredible to see how many people who have been missing, but we didn't even notice that they were gone. And it grieves my heart in those moments where I realize that these people may have been hurting. They may have been disconnected from us, but we didn't even recognize they were gone. Perhaps over the next few weeks, you can do this with your family. Just take out a church directory and look through and see who you haven't seen or talked to in a while. And simply send a message to say, hey, I've missed seeing you. How are you doing? You can even find a way to connect with them in a creative manner. But again, we're not doing this to interrogate them. We are not the police. We are not doing an investigation of their last 6 months. We simply want to know how they are, how it's been with them, and maybe offering an opportunity to pray. I think meeting with people is an incredible way to re-engage relationship that may have been lost, and perhaps the very on-ramp back into fellowship that someone is looking for. Man, I hope that you will take the opportunity to genuinely meet someone this week.
That was an awesome presentation on Chapter 3, Meet. Strategy and prayer at some point in time are just not going to be enough. We're going to have to actually go and meet those that we're strategizing and praying for. The chapter gave us lots of great ideas. I encourage you to go to the end of Chapter 3 and answer the questions with these strategies in mind.